Kane the best Spurs player ever?
I'll let you start.
I think, look, for me, it's a difficult one because he hasn't won a trophy. But I think as a striker, look, he's now level with Jimmy Greaves as the best ever goal scorer in Tottenham's history. I think the fact that he's stayed with us for so long, I think his quality as well. Obviously, he gives assists. He's an unbelievable playmaker. He's multiple Golden Boot winner. It's hard for me to say because I haven't seen Jimmy Greaves. I've seen highlights of him, but I never actually saw him in the flesh. But obviously, by all accounts, he was an unbelievable player. But for me, definitely modern era. For 100%, he's the best ever Tottenham player. In terms of all time, I know people older than me will say Jimmy Greaves. I know that. I know my dad will definitely say Jimmy Greaves. He did it in less games, didn't he, Jimmy Greaves? Did he do it in less games?
Less games, yeah.
Did it in 8 years, didn't he, I think?
I think it was about 20, 30 less games or something like that.
Yeah, for me.
But I think he is. I think he is.
I'm with you on that. I think Harry Kane's unbelievable.
Does he need a trophy, though, to get crowned best ever Spurs player?
I've had this debate as well. We have it about the Harry Kane trophy situation.
Yeah, obviously.
Look, I'm a Spurs fan, right? I'm not a Harry Kane fan. So what I mean by that is if Harry Kane don't win any trophies when he retires, that's bad for Harry Kane. But that's not bad for me. I'm annoyed Spurs haven't won any trophies. You know what I mean? So if you're like a Chelsea fan, Arsenal fan, a Man United fan, it's quick to come up and say, yeah, we ain't won nothing, but okay. I just appreciate what he's done for our club year in, year out. There's been a big debate about him not turning up in big football games, Champions League final, cup games. We've had this debate as well. Yeah. That was a big game the other night against Fulham.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the Crystal Palace game is a big game. I'm not putting them on the same...
It's not a Champions League final.
It's not a Champions League final. It's not on the same one.
No, I know what you're saying.
But it's a big game for where Tottenham are at the moment.
Yeah.
It is a huge, huge football match for us. And as I said, I struggle with any other team, Chelsea over the years, Liverpool, Man United, any one individual that's carried a team like he has.
Gareth Bale, when he was at Spurs?
Perhaps, but I'm on about for a long period.
Yeah.
I'm on about for a long period. I'm talking about Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal. You look at all their top teams when they had all their top players, there's not one individual
would you say
carried them.
Would you say Thierry Henry maybe?
Really got Robert Pires, Lundberg, Bergkamp, Vieira.
True, but he's had Sonny with him. He's had also good players.
Yeah. But I just think he's a standout when it comes to that for me.
Here's a question for you.
The goals, the way he can adapt as well his game, he can be the marksman, he can drop off so much.
Gaz, would you take a peak Drogba or a peak Harry Kane?
For me, I'll put my bias hat on. I think Harry Kane's an all-rounder.
Drogba, 9 goals in 9 finals.
Yeah, the thing is...
That's my biggest problem with the Kane situation.
He's been in more finals.
I think if you ask me...
That's simple. It's very simple. Chelsea probably in that era probably got to, 2 finals a year?
Literally, he's done it in Champions League. He's done it in everywhere.
It's very different to compare a player who's reaching finals year in, year out to somebody who's at a club like Spurs and is semi-finals an achievement.
Yeah, but
I think if you ask just outside the box, who's a better player, Kane or Drogba? I think you have to go on Kane on longevity, how many goals he's scored, and everything like that.
I love Drogba.
When you talk about peak players, there's a real conversation to be had there, in my opinion. Real conversation.
Well, if you're just talking about finals, like Jesse Lingard scored in a few finals for Man United, doesn't make him better than De Bruyne.
Yeah, not at the rate that Drogba did.
I mean, obviously, but Drogba's an unbelievable beast when it comes to finals. But when it comes to finals, he's unmatched. He's probably the best ever final player.
I'm hoping this year we get to the FA Cup final and Harry Kane gets a brace or a hat trick and just shuts everyone up.
Interesting one, that one as well. We're talking about Harry Kane, just to go off a little bit there. What I'm saying with Harry Kane, is he thinking in his head? Because I think he'll probably leave. I really do. I hope he doesn't, but I think he'll probably leave. I think he'll probably end up at Man United. But is he thinking to himself, you know what? Got 1 year left, sign 4 more years after that. I'm giving this club another 5 years to deliver me a trophy. So he's thinking in his head, I've got 5 years with this club again. We'll go again. He might look back on that and after that 5 and go, didn't do it. Yeah. But there's an opportunity that he might do it.
Yeah.
And that might just be the icing on the cake for that man. But does he think that way? Is he thinking that way? That's another question.
What do you think means more to him? Let's say he goes to Man United. Man United become dominant. They win a couple of Premier Leagues and a Champions League or something in the next 5 years. Or to win like one trophy with Spurs.
One trophy with Spurs.
5 years. No matter what trophy it is.
Yeah, I think if he won one thing with Spurs, it shuts everyone up and then they can focus on doing more. Because that's all it is with us now. It's like, we have won a trophy. And again, massive media bias on that. Because if you look at the big clubs that haven't done anything, like Villa, Everton, like these clubs that are in absolute turmoil, like with Everton, why do we get so much stick about it? It's like we get beaten with that stick all the time. It's because
trophies, Newcastle haven't won anything since the 50s.
Yeah, I think it's because under Pochettino we were the best team in the league for about 2 years. Yeah. Best defence, an amazing attack, and we still never won anything. We were literally the best team in the
I
league
know.
for 2 years, statistically.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why we get beaten like that.
Yeah, but I just think, again, but the difference between that is, again, we brought Newcastle up. They get a documentary called The Entertainers after flopping a 12-point lead. And we're like, oh, we flop. So it's just like, hang about. You know, as I said, Arsenal don't get the top 4. We mugged them for it. No, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about them winning the league outright because, hang about, they flopped the top 4 last year. Why are they going to automatically win? Just because they look great. They look great because they beat Man United on the bounce and they beat Chelsea last season. Do you know what I mean? They kept answering us last season until they got to Newcastle and us. So, but again, back to Harry Kane and where's his mind at the moment? I think seeing his post-match stuff recently, he seems even more Tottenham than ever, actually. But then there's a certain man's name I won't mention on this channel that did the same thing. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
But again, for me, if Harry Kane goes Man United, he has no guarantees of winning. The same with Spurs. Man United, okay, they probably look closer to challenging for the league, perhaps, with the squad that they've got. I don't think they're any closer to winning something than Spurs are.
Well, tonight they win. They're in the cup final.
They're in the cup final, and Newcastle could be as well. And the way the Geordie lads are going, the way the lads, I think
You just don't know what's going on in Harry Kane's mind.
No.
You would love to know that little bit of detail is how in love he is. He's been at Tottenham for a long time, by the way. I know there was that episode with the Gary Neville interview and he didn't turn up to train for a little while, but
That hurt, man. That hurt.
Yeah.
That did hurt.
because it wasn't
in the
like
grand scheme
him.
of things, though, I know that was bad, but there's a lot of players that go to extreme lengths to leave a football club.
Yeah, but I
Extreme lengths. I mean, I'm not ever turning up for you again.
Yeah.
Levels.
Berbatov.
Like,
No.
And I'll be honest with you, if
Diego
you're talking,
Costa.
if you're talking
Yeah.
about a player that was probably in that box to be able to do that, he probably won for the service and the goals he scored. For this club. Didn't do it though. And he's come back, got his head down eventually, and scoring goals for us and scoring goals. And I tell you what, at Fulham the other night, he got a big reception after that game.
Yeah, he did.
A massive reception, and he walking away from that big smile on his face. I'd love it if he stayed. Love it if he just signed that.
He was nearly in
Is it-
tears in that interview after the game.
But isn't that what happened last 18 months ago? That in that summer, isn't that an indication that if things aren't going right this summer, then he will look to leave? Like that is where his head's at.
Yeah, and again, it all comes back to like just to summarise the whole show. It all comes back down to Daniel Levy and what he does, and if he can.
Always comes back
I know,
down to Levy.
But it's in his hands because if you go to Conte, here is a deal that you can't refuse. Here's all the assets that go with it. You know, buy who you need to buy. Your first job is to go to Harry, sign. Let's go. We're in a project together. For me, if Conte stays, Kane stays. If Kane stays, Conte stays. They're one of the same things. And I think the problem was when he wanted to go that season. I ain't going to work for the old Wolves manager. Forget this. I could go to Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
I'm Harry Kane at my peak, and he had absolute all in his rights. If he
That's a great shout. That.
and if he sits down with Conte and goes, right, we go again. Have you seen the boys we brought in? And I think again, even with Son's form and the way he feels so flat, he's been probably all this stuff. He signed a new deal. We're going to buy this guy, we're going to buy that guy. Turns around, Benny Davies still there. Fantastic. You know what I mean? So yeah, fingers crossed. And I just think again, there's some weirdos out there that like hate Harry Kane.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And it makes no sense.
Strange.
Who do you replace him with? You
can't.
He's
You
unreplaceable.
saw the other
You have to
night,
buy
lads.
3-4 players to replace him.
Do you know
literally.
what as well was refreshing for me? Sorry, but like what's refreshing for me, the comments that he's making is there's so much football left this season. Yeah. Sometimes we get carried away. Arsenal going to win. Oh, they've got 20 games to play, 19 games to play. Like there's so much football still to. We need him on side.
Yeah.
We need him firing. And I tell you what, when I see these messages that's coming across to me that he's at it, he fancies it. So and we need him desperately to
Absolutely.
be on fire for us, as he was the other night.
All right, last question to close off the show. Let's name our favourite Harry Kane goal.
Oh my god.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So not one springs to mind just quickly for me is the one in the mask at home after.
That's the one I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
I
That's
think
the
we
one
all
I was
agree.
because we were top of the league for 15 minutes after that until we threw it away to a 10-man Arsenal. But that goal, the stadium, were you guys there that day? The stadium like shook.
The mask was off.
The mask, it's iconic when you look back at that. I think also,
Isn't it a bit Spursy though to have an iconic moment in a game that we drew and screwed our season up?
That's the most Spursy thing. That's how it is.
that's how we love it. I think other goals, there was a goal against Borussia Dortmund at home he scored, which was just absolutely unbelievable. First sort of 5, 10 minutes, bullied everyone, bang, like top corner.
One at Chelsea springs to mind at home, and he paid a little ball in, I think, about 25 yards out, bang. I think we won that game.
That's when he got the hat
stumbled
trick.
past the Chelsea players and just finished it.
Yeah, and I think the winner of Man City last season capped off one of the best individual displays I've ever seen. That was an iconic moment as well.
But
That was iconic.
I think with the celebration, who is against? It's like that, against Arsenal. It's just like, it's
Great record against Arsenal as well. He's got brilliant record.
Yeah. Brilliant. And people say he doesn't turn up in big games.
We've had that debate. There's no bigger for a Spurs fan any single season.
Champions League final.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But you're talking about every season, yeah? For how long he's
Henry
been
never
Two
scored
games.
in a final in his career. Does that mean he's not a big game player? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's true.
Scored a great goal in the semis though against Real Madrid.
He did. Yeah, he
Quarters.
did. No, Villarreal was the semis,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
exactly.
Yeah, quarters, great goal. In the quarters. In fairness, Harry did a great goal in the quarter against Dortmund, didn't he? Away from home.
That was the last 16.
Last
wasn't it?
16, yeah.